And coming to you here from City Hall, I'm Dan Gibson, your mayor, and we are about to have another 30 minutes or so of our Natchez Renewal Live program. We do this most Thursdays unless we have to skip, and it's our time of connecting with all of you via Facebook, social media to give you a report on what's going on in Natchez and also talk to you about things that you might want to talk about. And so we are going to take questions tonight, get feedback. A lot has been going on, and it's been another busy day. And we'll just tell you a little bit about the day. We've had a meeting after a meeting after a meeting. One of the exciting meetings was talking about our bond that we're about to do. We actually have in mind is really right at $2 million in improvements that we want to make to our city parks. And so we had a meeting this afternoon with the attorneys handling the bond issuance for us. And we are now moving further along in that process. And this will be discussed at our Tuesday board meeting. So that was an exciting meeting. It's great to have a vision, but to then start seeing it really come to pass is another thing. We also had various meetings today with regard to crime, the incident that occurred yesterday and the aftermath of that incident. In fact, into the night, last night, had a late night meeting with our chief of police, Joe Daughtry, and on the phone with our sheriff, Travis Patton. We were talking about the incident that happened yesterday, the raid on a business on MLK at Aldrich Street. And we talked about the significance of that and also the need now to do more throughout our community at even other locations. We'll talk about that in a minute. Also had a good meeting with just various citizens here talking about beautification, talking about infrastructure, talking about the need to do something more with our roads, our streets. We're looking at all of that. It's it's never ending. Over the last few days, we've actually had meetings also looking into animal control, ways that we can improve in animal control. We've I wish, Dustin, I just have my calendar in front of me. I can just take them all down. Here lately, it's just from one meeting to another, and every day is a marathon. And every day is exciting. We have some great things happening in Natchez. Had a great moment today to spend with the Natchez Garden Club. This is a very old garden club that does a lot for our community. They are about to undergo a beautiful restoration project at the house on Ellicott Hill, and they also are installing their new officers. We're very excited that Donna Sessions, the club president, is going to fulfill another year of duty. And Donna has done so much to help build that club in a way that it reaches out and works with other clubs. And they've actually worked with the Natchez, with the Pilgrimage Garden Club and also with Visit Natchez. And at the meeting today, Devin Heath, our director of tourism for Visit Natchez, and also someone I really enjoyed meeting, Dr. Roscoe Barnes, who is the new director of cultural activities for Visit Natchez. And Dr. Barnes comes to us from Woodville, and he is someone who grew up in the Delta, really understands Mississippi, and really understands the need for us to explore more in our cultural heritage. Had a great meeting with Jessica Hawkins today, who is our community liaison individual working with Juneteenth events that are coming up in just a couple weeks. We'll be celebrating Juneteenth, and so that was a great thing. We've actually just this evening been proofing some verbiage that's going out for that, ads are going out, signage. It's going to be a great event, and we're going to share more about Juneteenth over the course of next week. And, as we prep for a week long time of great events, kicking off with the Day of Unity on June 14th, Flag Day, which was designated last year by the outgoing mayor, Darrell Grinnell, and the outgoing board at that time to forever be a day of unity in Natchez. So we're had a good meeting on that this week. We also today started preparing for our board meeting that will take place Tuesday. Several things that we're wanting to get done there. So I'm just throwing out a few things. I'm going to now circle back and talk in more detail about a few of them. I'd like to talk about first the incident that occurred yesterday over at the Shop and Save gas station, and that's a convenience store located on North MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Street, right at Cathedral, right there in that area of town, a few blocks north of St. Catherine. It was really sad back in October. I'll go back to October last year. I hadn't been in office long, and there had been a shooting there, and luckily the individual did not lose his life, but there was a shooting there at that convenience store, and we came to find out that there had been a number of violent incidents at that location and in other locations in that community. And we, in October, decided to hold a public hearing about this, and we literally filled up the largest conference hall at our Natchez Convention Center, standing room only, and everyone there was on the same page, from business owners to residents to concerned citizens, individuals from the school, from the local churches, local businesses. There's two funeral homes in that area, a medical clinic right across the street, Bella Rouge, Dr. Bell's clinic. They were all very worried about the safety of that community, especially after that shooting that occurred in October. And then we followed that public hearing up with another community meeting that was held that same week at Beulah Baptist Church. And again, mostly local residents all came in, had a large crowd in that church, and again expressed great concern of the safety. And so ever since then, we've been working through our police and also with the sheriff to do undercover work to see what we could sort out. And it has been a frustrating, lengthy process. In the course of that, we had transition from one chief to a new chief. Our new chief, Joe Daughtry, came in January, and he and I started immediately talking about the situation in this area. And not just that business, but other areas that we had received complaints on. Long story short, all of this culminated in a raid that took place yesterday. And that raid was extremely successful. It was sad. It was sad to see a business that's been there for a number of years, right across from an elementary school. That building right across the street from it is the elementary school for Cathedral, right across from a medical clinic, right down the street from legitimate businesses, including restaurants, including not only that, churches, as I said, two funeral homes. And it is really sad to imagine that this illegal activity that they are now suspected of has been going on for so long. We were able to successfully, through our police and sheriff working coordinated effort, to get a warrant. And what was found was really sad. Found a fair amount of illegal drugs, paraphernalia, a good bit of cash in excess of $24,000. We were really surprised to see even a money counter. I won't go into a lot of details because it is an ongoing investigation, but just say this: the business has been closed, and it's important to the safety of that community that that business remain closed for the foreseeable future. In fact, the very people who have been operating that business and owning that business are now in jail, and so it can't operate, and especially after the evidence was processed and what was found there, it just can't operate at the current time, and so we have uh, pulled that license, and it will remain so until the foreseeable future. Now it's sad because people in that community do need a nice grocery store, a nice convenience store, but they need a nice store. They need a safe store, and they need a store that is not preying on our youth, preying on our vulnerable, selling paraphernalia that is associated with everything from ecstasy to crack cocaine, not to mention, marijuana use. Um, it's not the kind of thing that we tolerate in Natchez. And I want to tell you too, as we said in our public hearing back in October, we would not rest until we addressed this situation. And we're not through yet. If there is any other business in this city doing this kind of thing under the guise of legitimacy, we're going to find it out. We're going to root it out, and we're going to stop it. And those who are doing this will be prosecuted and will be put away. It's important for the safety of our community. But yes, we need a good business there. And so I'm hoping that in the near future, it will be possible to find someone who can come in and operate a good business, a small grocery store, and something that actually could meet the need. I have a little history in this department. I spoke of this when I ran for mayor a year ago. And I said that I would use the lessons that I learned 20 years ago as mayor of Crystal Springs here in Natchez now for such a time as this. So I've been having quite a flashback. And that flashback is to a time when I was mayor of Crystal Springs and got the call one night that a shooting had occurred outside of a store in an area of Crystal Springs that was called New Deal Corner. It had at one time been the location of a grocery store called New Deal, and it had taken on a new meaning, New Deal, because it had become a corner infested with drug trafficking. Well, we had been stepping things up, but obviously not enough because we got and one that shot the other, and the other died. Lifelong friends. I actually went to the police department that night and saw the young man, saw the parents, saw the grieving family members, and I will never forget that. We immediately put pressure on that business, and in short order, they did close. And that business remained closed for a while. And then in its place came a very nice store, a store that for many years, in a very good way, met the needs of that community. I hope a similar thing can happen here. And if anyone's interested in operating a really nice grocery store, convenience store, and doing it the right way, we'll encourage you all day long and try to connect you with individuals that could help you get started. We need a good business there. But it's important to safeguard the businesses that are already there. We have new businesses right down the street. In fact, yesterday, while I was on the scene, I saw a number of residents and business owners, and most of them were very happy to see what was taking place. That our sheriff, that our police chief, that our men and women in uniform, both police and sheriff, were doing everything they could to put an end to a menace on the community. There are those who said, I've lived across from the store for many years and never been in there because I was too scared to go to it. That doesn't need to be our story here in Natchez. Had someone else, I'll say at the health clinic, so relieved, Dr. Bell, so relieved because it has been a concern for her and her patients to have this taking place. Individuals with Cathedral, very concerned about their children and what was taking place here. Both young, both old, both black, both white, both. If you look around our community, we have a very diverse community, and the message I get from everyone doesn't mean, doesn't really matter who they are. The message is the same. Mayor, we want a safe city. We want a safe city. And I really am suspect of those who are angry that we did this raid yesterday. I'm suspect of their motivations. Why would anyone want a business knowingly selling illegal drugs? Did I mention the guns? Yeah, the guns that were there. Why would anyone want that in their neighborhood? I can tell you, I don't want it in mine. And as mayor of Natchez, I don't want it in our city. So I want to applaud our police chief, Judge Daughtry. I want to applaud Sheriff Patton, Travis Patton, our sheriff. I want to applaud the men and women who were there en masse, working so hard to make sure that that scene was processed and processed properly so that a good case could be built. We have a great community. I also want to say it should send a message that we've been doing this undercover work for some time and nobody knew. The word has been said, oh, we can't trust police. I want to tell you, it's a new day in Natchez. I don't know what has gone on in the past for people to say that, but the men and women who serve our city today, I can tell you, I trust them, and you can trust them, because I know full well that there's some secrets that have been kept for some time so that we could get to a day like yesterday where a raid could take place. I also want to tell you this. People are talking about solving crime. Well, you solve crime one day at a time, one step at a time. And whenever we can make a bust, whenever we can make arrests, it's just like a week or so ago when we arrested someone in violation of their parole and we found out that the man had firearms. We're already working to trace those firearms to some of these unsolved cases. Whenever you have those breaks, it is a step forward. Now, Rome was not built in a day, and we're not going to do all of this in one day either. In fact, it's only been 10 months going on 11. We'll soon come up on a year. And yes, I want to solve every crime that's out there. And yes, I want to bring closure to the families who are grieving. And I talk to many of them often. And my heart goes out to them. That's why I take it so seriously. And that's why when we find out that there's a business engaging in illegal activity, we're going to shut them down. And that's why we take this seriously, because at the end of the day, we have to send a message that in Natchez, we don't play. If you do crime, you're going to do the time. And I'm also really grateful that we have Crime Stoppers back. And we're going to be doing more over the next few months through our Safe City Task Force, chaired by Alderwoman Sarah Carter Smith, about to have another meeting soon. And we're about to do a lot of work, and Dustin Get Ready, our communications director, to promote Crime Stoppers, to promote that 800 number and make sure people are using it. Before I get off the subject of crime, is there any comments, anything that we need to address there, Dustin?
Just as like Nathan Gauthier says, and a clean city with no trash in the parking lots.
Nathan, we talked this morning about that. Talk about beautification in our city. We have increased the fine for litter from 150 to 500, and you're soon going to see new signs going up. I'm excited about that, and we need to make sure everyone's working with us to prosecute those people who are litter bugs in our city. Hey, let them litter at home, but don't bring it on our streets. Anything else?
What happened to the body pulled from the river in Natchez?
You know, we haven't heard any more from that, and that was a sad situation. Floated down from somewhere, you know, obviously upstream, and processed. The last I heard, they're still trying to identify, and so you know the jury's out. Hope that we'll have some news on that soon.
Yeah.
I want to talk about. Let's now just totally flip the coin. Let's talk about recreation. You know, one of the real answers to fighting crime is to having more for our people to do and more for our young people to do. And there was a time when people had more to do. And I know I've gotten a few messages on Facebook, people upset. Why are you bothering? Why are you bothering shutting down businesses? You need to be doing more for our young people. Well, let me just give you a news flash. We are going to be doing more for our young people. Give us a break. Only been in office less than a year. And we can't help it that prior to this past year taking office, that we had 6 city parks that were going absolutely unattended and uncared for. Deplorable bathrooms, deplorable playground equipment, baseball fields that hadn't been seen to, a building in North Natchez called the Youth Center, and I would never want to call a building like that the Youth Center because that sends a terrible message that that's what we in Natchez would see as a youth center. A splash pad at North Natchez didn't work. The list goes on and on. Well, over the past week, we've been very busy. We have gotten all the basketball goals we could get back up. Some of them were in terrible condition, couldn't even put them back up. But during the COVID, these basketball goals were taken down. Well, we've gotten them back up, and we're excited. Folks were playing on them this past weekend and are probably playing on them right now. So that's a good thing. But the other thing that we've done is we've just finished an assessment of our parks. At our last board meeting, we circulated a list of almost $2 million in projects to bring renovations to our parks. On that list, I'm very proud, is $365,000 for a renovated youth center at North Natchez Park to include new bathrooms and to include a beautiful transformation back into the historic building it once was, a community center for the community, where again, for the first time in many years, citizens can have birthday parties, class reunions, and such. Also on that list, a transformation, restoration, a renewal of the golf clubhouse at Duncan Park. We'll have an exciting announcement about that a little later tonight, but not on this program. We're saving it. But we're going to be renovating the old golf clubhouse there so that our beautiful course has a beautiful clubhouse to match. Speaking of which, the Natchez Open will kick off tomorrow, has a large purse. It is the second largest championship purse in Mississippi, I'm told, second only to Sanderson Farms, the classic that's held in the fall each year in Jackson or Madison. Well, this Natchez Open is going to be a very successful event. They're having a reception right now to kick off the weekend. And what a great time for us to be talking about a renovated golf clubhouse. We're also going to be adding new playground equipment, very large playground sets. I call them almost playground villages.
I have a rendering of it up on the screen.
And the rendering's up on the screen. We're actually buying two of those in excess of $80,000 a piece. One is going to go at North Natchez Park, and one is going to go at Duncan Park. I'm excited about that. Even has ADA capacity. We're also looking at other ADA equipment for Duncan Park, but also ADA picnic tables for all of the parks. We're also looking at new benches for all of the parks. We're looking at new basketball goals for all of the parks. We are looking at new and improved facilities for baseball, for tennis, new tennis courts, pickleball. Um, the Kiwanis Club's been working to renovate the walking trail for the first time in 30 years there at Duncan Park. Uh, all of this on top of the fact people are saying the city needs to do more for our kids. We have just embarked upon the last stage of completing the pool at Liberty Park in partnership with the county. And the pool is open and people are enjoying it. And so, if people think we aren't doing anything, they obviously just aren't tuning in. So I'm excited about the parks. Next week, we will get the resolution passed that will get the bond started. And we're doing all of this under our current city budget, no new taxes. And that's exciting right there. Speaking of our budget, we've been looking at our budget. We're doing well. Our sales tax collection is going well. Our gaming revenue, we have hit major records over the last little while. April was a banner month. Can't wait to see the totals for May. And all that said, we are about to get our third audit done in 1 year. We came into office 2 years behind and then 3 years behind on audits. We've gotten 2 done, about to get the third done. They're clean audits and things are going well. We have balanced the budget and we are staying that way. Now, I want to close with something here. We are very excited about a video that is being released tonight for the very first time. Our dear friend, Tina Montanay, who oversees our renewal program. If ever there was a Natchez renewal program, this is what it is. Our recycling program for the city of Natchez. Tina is a community awareness officer for that program, and she, working with our director of communications, Dustin Hinkle, have just polished off in-house, professionally done by Dustin. It wasn't done in Washington or somewhere or in New York City. It was done right here in Natchez, right here in-house. A new video that is being released tonight that will be running and sharing on Facebook to promote recycling here in Natchez and making our community more green. And so, Dustin, let's roll that video.
All right. One second, let me just get this banners off of here so we can.
We're getting it ready.
Yeah.
Our new video on recycling, about to be seen for the first time. Tina, I hope you're watching. We appreciate everything you do.
All right, here we go.
When we choose to recycle, our waste doesn't end up here or here or here. Recycling is one way to keep our earth cleaner and greener. The average person produces millions of waste per day, most of which can be recycled. Recycling starts with each of us. By choosing recyclable products, we create jobs, reduce landfill, and keep plastics out of our oceans. Even food waste can become rich soil through composting for a small garden in your yard or a composting bin. 700 pounds of compostable food waste is thrown out each home every year. New processes and technology are being developed every year to increase efficiency and sustainability for a brighter future. Natchez can lead the way for Mississippi to ensure the maximum amount of waste is being recycled for our future generations. Reduce, reuse, recycle Natchez. Together we can make a difference for them.
Okay.
All
I
right.
hope it came through okay. You know, we're limited by our bandwidth, you know, of
I'm
our
excited.
internet, but
Well,
you can see it on YouTube. And
great
we'll
job,
post it.
Dustin, and great job, Tina. And it's a great message. I got an exciting announcement. I've forgotten about this. Tuesday, something very significant is going to happen here in Natchez. For the first time in over a year, the mayor and city board of aldermen will have our meeting in our city council building right here across from City Hall. I'm excited. That's an indication we are getting back to normal. And it will be a great meeting. It will be a real pleasure for me as a mayor who's been here going on a year now to finally have the opportunity to gavel in at the historic city council chamber right here across the street. I'm excited about that. It is progress. It shows that the Natchez renewal is happening. The Natchez renewal is going well. Any parting questions or comments?
A couple asking about jobs, and I know we've been doing a lot of reporting about jobs.
We've got a great jobs announcement next week? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Great job announcement coming. Also, I want to tell you, we had great response. The commercial driver's license program going well. People enrolled there. Jordan Carrier still has 100 jobs to fill. I'm not sure how many of those they filled yet, but these are commercial driver's license, jobs for truck drivers, 60 to 70,000 starting out. We also, loss prevention is still hiring on Main Street. And as I said, we have another great announcement coming next week.
Yeah, loss prevention is very competitive.
Yeah, great employer. And then we also have a number of new businesses that have opened, and they're all telling me, from food service to hotels to even offices and even car dealerships, that they're struggling to find people because people have been sitting home and not wanting to work. So if you're needing a job right now, there's no excuse not to have one. There's several hundred, I understand, still listed here in Natchez right now on Indeed.com. So go to Indeed.com and see what's available in Natchez. We also need public works crew members. We are advertising right now for a new parks recreation director position that we just created, a full-time position for Parks and Rec. We need firefighters. We need officers, police officers. Go to the city website and see what we've got. So there are job opportunities. At last count, well over 500 new jobs created since last July. We're on our way, I believe, to create many, many more.
We're good.
All right. Everybody, have a great evening, a good weekend coming up. May God bless you, and thank you, as always, for the opportunity you've given me to be your mayor. Thank you. Natchez strong. God bless. And a shout out. Are we still on?
Mm-hmm.
A shout out to the class of 2021. We are proud of you, graduates. We are proud of you. Thank you.